Ayushi Verma from Investor Learn Academy, and I welcome you all to this channel. In the last video, we talked about the profit and loss statement of a company, its components and significance. Today we will take another statement, that is balance sheet, and learn about this statement in detail. While the P&L statement gives us the information about the company's profitability, the balance sheet gives us the information about the assets, liabilities and shareholders' equity. The P&L statement is considered for the financial year, and hence it is good to say that P&L statement is a standalone statement, whereas the balance sheet is prepared from the time the company was incorporated. Thus, while the P&L talks about how the company performed in a particular financial year, the balance sheet on the other hand discusses how the company has evolved financially over the years. The balance sheet contains detailed information on the company's assets, which means what the company owns, and liabilities, which means what the company owes. The companies generally publish their balance sheet on the last day of the fiscal quarter. It is an important document for the company when conducting fundamental analysis or calculating financial ratios, and is used along with other important financial statements such as the P&L statement and the statement of cash flows. Whenever a company publishes its quarterly results, there are two types of balance sheets that a company publishes. First, standalone, second, consolidated. The difference between them is very simple. Standalone balance sheets are those that have financial statements of a single company. These statements reflect the positions of assets and liabilities of holding company in isolation without considering the impact of the assets and liabilities of its subsidiary companies. Whereas the consolidated balance sheets indicate the financials of the holding company along with its subsidiary companies as well. Or in other terms, the financial statements of different companies belonging to the same group are consolidated to present the financial position as a whole. Now the next question arises, is it mandatory for the companies to publish balance sheet? The answer is yes. According to the Companies Act 2013, every company has to publish its audited balance sheets annually. In practice, the company may do it at the end of every quarter and once annually. Fundamentally, if the company wants, it can publish its balance sheet on the daily basis as well. Some companies, especially banks, are required to publish the balance sheet in the form of audited and unaudited on the quarterly basis. The next question arises, why are the balance sheets essential for the stock market investors? Now let's see some of the points. First, shareholders' equity is an essential figure for an investor if he wants to stay invested in a particular company. It basically represents the amount that the shareholder of the company will receive if all the assets of the companies were sold and liquidated and all the liabilities were paid off. Second, assets will help you to realize the worth of the stock and if the company is giving you the right worth or not, if the company is overvaluing or undervaluing itself. It gives you a snapshot of whatever the company owns, both in terms of tangible and intangible formats. Third, like assets, liabilities are basically whatever the company owes. Once you know what the company owes, and if it owes more than you know, the company is under debt. And you should keep in mind such parameters and have an idea of such information before you invest in a stock. Fourth, to check the company's authenticity, audited balance sheets gives you the assurance that the numbers may not be fudged and they are authentic. Now, since we have understood what a balance sheet has, what is the information it contains, we also need to understand what the balance sheet will not tell you. So basically, it will not tell you about the daily trading transactions, income and expenses, interest payments, and etc. Now let's see the most important part of this video and understand the components of the balance sheet. It basically has two segments, that are liabilities and assets. Let's understand these two segments in detail. Now this is the balance sheet of Amara Raja Batteries Limited. The left side of the balance sheet shows the liability side, and the liabilities, as you know, is the obligation of the company. Under liabilities, the first subheading is the shareholders fund, and that is an integral part to the balance sheet. The second and third subheadings are current and non-current liabilities. The shareholders fund represents the shareholders' wealth, and it consists of the share capital plus retained earnings. It can also be expressed as stockholders' equity, and you can calculate it by using the following formula, which says assets minus liabilities or contributed or share capital plus retained earnings. Now, share capital refers to the amount received by the company from the shareholders. Companies can generally issue either common shares or preferred shares by using the share capital. Common shares represent the residual ownership in a company, and in the event of liquidation or dividend payment, common shareholders can only receive payments after the preferred shareholders have been paid first. Retained earnings are the business profits that are not distributed as dividend to the shareholders but instead are allocated for investment back into the business. It can be used for funding working capital, fixed asset purchase, debt servicing, etc. A summary called the Statement of Retained Earning is also maintained, mentioning the changes in the retained earning for a specific period. To calculate the retained earning, the following formula can be used. The dividend payments by the companies to its shareholders are completely optional. Companies have no obligation to pay out the dividends until they have been officially announced by the management. There are 4 key dates in terms of dividend payments, and these are dividend declaration date, ex-dividend date, record date, and payment date. Second subheading under liabilities is the non-current liabilities. Non-current liabilities represents the long-term obligation which the company intends to settle or pay off not within 365 days or the 12 months of the balance sheet date. These obligations stay on the books for the few years. Non-current liabilities are generally settled after the 12 months after the reporting period. It is important to know if the business has sufficient financial resources to meet its financial obligations in the organization. If the company enjoys stable cash flows, it means the business can take higher debt load, whereas if it is inadequate, then the investors and creditors will be hesitant to do business in that company. The non-current liabilities can be clubbed under 5 broad categories, namely bonds payable, long-term notes payable, deferred tax liabilities, mortgage payable, and capital lease. The third subheading under the liabilities is the current liabilities. Current liabilities section of the balance sheet shows the debts a company owes that must be paid within a year. It acts as the main factor of the company's liquidity. It is because in a typical financial structure of a company, the current liabilities are settled against the current assets. In other words, companies utilize their current assets to pay off their short-term financial obligations. There are various categories of the current liabilities. The most common ones are accounts payable, accrued expenses, short-term notes payable, and income tax payable. The formula for calculating the current liabilities is as follows. The following liquidity ratios can be calculated using the total or a part of the current liabilities. First, current ratio or working capital ratio. Second, quick ratio or asset test ratio. Now these ratios we will be discussing in the upcoming videos. Now since we have seen the left side, that is the liability side of the balance sheet, let's look at the right side of the balance sheet too, and that represents the asset side. The asset side shows up all the company's assets right from its inception. Assets in simple terms are the resources held by the company which help in generating the revenues. This side has 2 main segments, that is the current assets and the non-current assets. The first subheading under the asset side is the current assets. Current assets are those assets that can be liquidated within 365 days of time. And these assets are the assets that the company uses to fund its day-to-day operations and ongoing expenses. Since most of the company's payment towards the loans and bills are made at the end of the month, the management must have an idea about how much cash they can comfortably spend at that particular time. These short-term assets of the companies also allows investors and creditors to assess the value and risk involved in the operations of the business. The most common current assets examples are cash and cash equivalents, inventories, receivables, sundry debtors, etc. The formula for calculating the total of current asset is as follows. We need to add the cash and cash equivalents, inventory, accounts receivable, marketable securities, prepaid expenses, and any other liquid asset. The following liquidity ratio can be calculated using the total or a part of the current assets. These are cash ratio, current ratio, and quick ratio. We will be explaining these ratios in the upcoming videos. The second subheading under the asset side is the non-current assets, which is also known as the fixed assets. Non-current assets can be defined as those long-term investments or assets whose value is not usually realized within an accounting year. It is mostly because such assets lack the liquidity of being easily converted into cash or cash equivalents. Such assets are generally placed under the header of property, plant and equipment, and some of the examples of non-current assets would be intellectual property, goodwill, tangible and intangible assets and natural resources. The following liquidity ratios can be calculated using the total or a part of the non-current assets, and these are non-current assets turnover ratio and non-current assets to net worth. Hopefully the balance sheet statement should look more meaningful to you by now. We'll see you on next Monday with a new topic. So till then, happy learning and be safe.